Welcome to SES Daily Podcast. Without you guys, this wouldn't be possible, and thank you guys for subscribing. We are doing a collab podcast, a crossover podcast with the Paranormal Trucker, Snowman, and Large March. How are you all doing tonight?
Hey, we're wonderful. It's great to be alive.
Let's go, Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon.
But unfortunately, Bard. The Paranormal Trucker. The Paranormal Trucker. The Paranormal Trucker is busy tonight, and unfortunately, he wasn't able to join us. But we are blessed enough to have amazing guest, Bigfoot researcher William Nighthawk. How are you doing tonight, man?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Glad to be here.
Absolutely, man. And Large March, you also have a Native American heritage as well. Do you got any questions for him?
Well, no, but if we're talking about the Bigfoot research, I was going to comment on that because my grandma used to tell us stories. So when we start talking about that, I'm going to put in my part. But yes, I'm Cherokee Blackfoot.
Oh, okay. Well, you know, the Oglala Lakota, the Lakota Nation, which is what I am, there's three of us. There's Lakota, Dakota, and Nakota that make up basically the Sioux Nation. And back about 1200 AD, it was said that a band of the Cherokee, the Southern Cherokee, broke off from the main branch of the Cherokee people and ended up becoming the Sioux Nation up in the Great Plains. So technically, we're probably related.
We probably are. That could be.
Yeah.
I've told stories on here about my ancestors.
Yeah, like maybe cousins like 150,000 times removed, but
probably.
I'm also Cherokee.
No, good. Now I've got to ask you though, you know, being Native American myself and being a Wachashiwakan and teaching as much as I can to people, you know, about, you know, my people, which includes Shawnee blood too. I do have some Shawnee blood in me, which I'm not going to hold that against my mother. But have you all actually gotten into the Cherokee culture to learn about certain things, your language, your ceremony, your way of dealing with the supernatural or the paranormal type of stuff that we see on a daily basis?
Well, ahoy. And yes, I have researched a lot of my ancestry. I actually know I'm thinking like 8 lines back that I've gotten to. And I actually went to a powwow last year and I got my first prayer shawl, and I've really gotten into it, and I remain, and I always have been open-minded.
That's
so
good.
Everything, and I've always been sensitive is the way I say it. I feel things that I can't explain, and I think all of that comes from the fact that I'm Native.
Yeah, you definitely feel more when your shoes are off and your feet are firmly on the ground. Trust me.
Yeah.
That's you know, that's one thing that one of the first things my father taught me was, you know, when you're wanting to commune with the powers that be in nature and the spirits of nature, you know, whether it's, you know, the rock medicine or the tree medicine or the water medicine or any animal, you know, every animal and everything that we deal with on a daily basis in our environment around us has a spiritual embodiment, a power, a medicine is what we call it. And basically, if you go into it, you take your shoes off and you just let your toes just feel Mother Earth. You know, we call Mother Earth Makawakan, which means, you know, Mother Earth. And you know, you feel more of a power coming from Mother Earth with your shoes off than you do with them on. So, but I wouldn't recommend it in the middle of wintertime. So
no, it's like the Egyptians and that. It's manna.
Yeah.
It's what the old Bible in that wrote.
Yeah.
If you read about manna, it's the same thing. It's nothing that you can't describe. You can't put into words, but it's a power that comes from inside of you.
You're right. Yep, that's absolutely right. Everything's connected. Matakuyo Yasin means we are all related. You know, we're all connected in the web of life. What we do to the web, we do to ourselves.
Mm.
So, but yeah, as far as like the Bigfoot thing, or say even like the dog man thing, or even the lizard man thing, have your people ever taught you anything about that, dealing with those aspects of things, especially down in Kentucky, because you probably have all three of them down there.
Well, I remember the big thing at my mama's house, and that was the hairy man.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't go outside. You didn't, because he picked up the children that were in the woods or in the yards after dark. So you did, when it come dark time, you got on the porch, you come in the house because of the hairy
Yep.
man. And
Yeah, what we normally would do in any situation before we go into the woods or any forested area or place where we think there's activity, which I'll tell you this right now, you know, a lot of people think they're not around. They're always
we're
around.
around.
And they know that you're coming to where they're gonna be before you know you're leaving to go there. If you know
Right.
what I mean. That's how
Right.
psychically linked they are to their environment. And you know, a lot of people don't understand, you know, when you live like bushcrafters, you know, these guys that go out in the bush and live out in the bush and, you know, and literally live in the bush for months and months at a time, if not longer, you know, and they actually become a part of that environment, and they're so in tune with that environment that they know things, you know. It all starts with our senses, with our hearing and our sight and our smell, but there's other senses too above and beyond that
Well,
a lot of people.
these mountains are so thick and rich down through here, and people don't live in every inch of it. It's very rural down here. These
Right.
big strip jobs and stuff like that. There's all kinds of places for these little monsters to hang out and to have little families and eat and all that other stuff where nobody would ever find them.
Yep.
Absolutely. And William, tell us some of have you actually witnessed the Bigfoot, and has some of your ancestors and like grandpas and mom and dad actually told you stories of their ancestors
Yeah.
seeing Bigfoot?
Yeah, well, my dad used to tell me a story. See, my grandfather passed away before I was born. My father was actually World War II veteran, but when I was born, he was like 50 years old. So my grandfather had passed before that in 1948. So it's been, you know, it was been a while, but my dad taught me everything that my grandfather taught him, and a lot of the elders taught him. And he always told me that when we go into the wilderness, into the woods or the forest, we take tobacco with us. We always carry a tobacco pouch, and we always take a gift. You always take a gift, and usually it's a hawk feather or a peregrine falcon feather or something that we would give,
Right.
or even an eagle feather, you know, as an offering to, you know, the tall man. You know, we call him tall man, or we also call him big brother, you know, who basically watches out for us. And you always go with respect in your heart, because they sense that. They know if you're going to go there to cause them possible harm or their environment possible harm. Okay, they can sense that. And a lot of people don't believe me on that, but I'm telling you, it is true. The more incidences you hear of violent encounters, it has to do with people interrupting them hunting on motorcycle, ATV, or with rifles in their hands. A lot of it's hunting. So that's, you know, it's all about survival and about, you know, respecting their environment around them. But yeah, my dad, he told us growing up, at least me, that when you see one, you make sure you have your mind clear and your heart pure, and you don't look them in the eye. You give them that respect, and you do what we always do when we look at people. We look, you know, we look down, you know, our eyes drop. And it's always been a Native American thing to be that humble in that way. You know, we're supposed to be as humble as, you know, as water, lower than any other form and thing on the planet, yet stronger than to move a mountain when it all comes together. So, and that's what being Native American's all about. But my first encounter with the tall man was back in the 70s, and I was 12 years old at the time, and I was riding dirt bikes with a couple buddies of mine, and we were in this field, and we were going around this field, and the center of the field, the grass was like 6 or 7 feet tall. I mean, it was pretty tall, but the actual border of the field was bordered by trees and forest. It was real thick on all sides. And I got on the motorcycle and started going around and around and around. And next thing I know, I got done, and something told me when I got off my motorcycle, and I bent down I held the handlebar up, like, you got to hold the motorcycle handlebar in order to turn the fuel line off. So I'm doing that, and something told me mentally to look to my left. So I turned and looked to my left, and what I saw was the most amazing. It was every bit of over 9 feet tall. It was silver grayish in color with maybe a couple smatterings of black hair here and there. I don't know if it was because of maybe he had something matted in it or something, but the hair wasn't as long as you would think. The only spots where the hair was long was on the forearm. Okay, it was a little longer than the rest of the body. I couldn't see the chest because it was a profile. And he was reaching up into this oak tree, gathering acorns and stuff off this tree. And he reached up, and as he reached up, I looked up where he was reaching, and there was a little black spot on this branch. Well, here, the only thing I could think of was it must have been a female that was reaching up into the tree, the adult, because it had a baby there. And this little one, yeah, this little one was very, very tiny. Like, we're talking, I mean, I didn't see it standing up. It was squatted down on the branch, but it couldn't have been any more than 3 feet tall. So it had to have been pretty young. So, but it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing.
Where was this at?
Hello?
Rose.
On a river in New York where we were actually riding dirt bikes. So
In New York. Huh.
yeah. But yeah, it was absolutely amazing. I'm telling you, it was the most miraculous thing, the most beautiful thing you'd ever want to see, And you say there's a smell with it and all that. In all of my encounters, and I've had more than quite a few encounters with it, I've never smelled anything. And honestly, getting back to that original thing, I looked down at the ground, and by the time I felt like I could look back up, it was gone. Had no idea where it went. But the path that this thing was standing in, that we came through that same way with our motorcycles, was a little more than about 4 feet wide. And we always wondered why that path was so beaten down 4 feet wide. We could never figure it out, because deer do not leave a wide berth, when they go through. They're going to leave probably a 24-inch to maybe a 32-inch wide, swath when they go through,
Right.
So, you can track deer very easily, but we never understood why this path was so big. So it must have been either like a migratory path or some place where they knew that they could go to get food, because there was also wild grapes growing there. And this was in about the time of the year where the wild grapes were coming in, and, you could eat them right off the vine. So, yeah, there was all kinds of food there. So that wouldn't surprise me either if that's not the reason why. But yeah, I looked down and looked back up, and by that time it was gone. We took our motorcycles back through after we discussed it for about 3 or 4 minutes amongst us. There was 3 of us there, and none of us could believe that that's what we saw. The other 2 guys were like, "Oh, that had to have been a black bear." No, black bear aren't that big. And black bear don't reach up in trees with their hands. They don't have hands to begin with.
No.
So, but yeah, a lot of people don't understand it. The only thing you can correlate it to is like a silverback gorilla.
Wow.
Because our mind can't perceive what we're actually seeing unless we equate it to something. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like if you're looking at a black looking, you know, kind of a raccoon thing, your mind's gonna click to a raccoon, even though it's black. It's still gonna be like a raccoon in your mind, even though it's black, because that's what you're gonna equate what you're looking at to, you know.
Right.
So, but yeah, we took the motorcycles back through at that same spot where it was standing, and there was footprints, and I could put my thumb down in there all the way up to where the first joint is on the thumb. That's how deep this track was. And it wasn't like real rock hearted ground, but it wasn't real wet either. It wasn't after a rain or anything. So it had to be a significant amount of weight. So, and I'm probably guessing somewhere around 700 pounds in order to get that deep. Currently right now I wear a size 14 ring, and I'm a pretty big guy, you know. I used to be even bigger before cancer, but you know, I can't imagine how big the hands would have been on that thing. I mean, it had to dwarf my hand by significant leaps and bounds. But yeah, we went through there. I stopped the bike, and I got up on the seat of the bike and tried to reach the branch that it was reaching at. I couldn't reach it. No. And at 12 years old, I was a pretty big boy at 12 years old, you know. So, I mean, I started playing football, you know, when I was 12 years old. So it was like, you know, you got to be a pretty big kid to be playing, you know, football at that young age. So,
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I couldn't reach the branch at all. And the whole way riding back through that trail, we kept on looking to our left and our right and just making sure we weren't being followed. But we didn't have any other incidences that day. So, but yeah, that was my first time dealing with it. So,
you've had other eye count encounters.
Oh yeah.
Bigfoot.
Oh yeah.
There's a question though, man, that
You-
a lot of Native Americans think that there's a connection between aliens and Bigfoot. Do you see that connection?
Honestly, probably the only connection I could see with that possibly would be if alien races were abducting them, just like they were, you know, they're abducting, you know, humans. You know, that's the only correlation I could see, other than maybe if somehow or another, since the tall man, hairy man, Sasquatch, Bigfoot, whatever you want to call them, is on such a higher plane of existence, his personal vibrations and stuff, giving him the ability to disappear and reappear, you know, at a moment's notice. Maybe that's because they're somehow connected to the aliens. I don't know. I mean, it's just almost like a bodyguard, maybe. I don't know. There's been Oh, where'd you go?
You just gave me chills, man, saying that it was his bodyguard, because there was a guy that I had on from the UK that got abducted by aliens and stuff for years and has wrote books, and he said that Bigfoot is a bodyguard for the aliens.
Are you kidding?
No, man, that just gave me the chills.
Huh.
Wow.
Well, I mean, that's just, you know, and to me, it's all just theory, because, you know, I'm not your proverbial expert on the subject. I can tell you what my experiences are and what I've learned from dealing with them and what my family's done dealing with them, you know, and the kind of, you know, way that they're not aggressive towards me. And I honestly think that they know your heart and your spirit when you go in there, and they can tell whether you're going to be aggressive or mean towards them or do something to harm them or the environment. So I really believe that there is that level of spirituality, that there is a connection somehow, whatever you want to call it, if you want to call it the chi, your Zen, your, you know, whatever you want to call it, there's some kind of connection there that they can sense. And, you know, a lot of people say it's, you know, our personal vibrations and our, you know, our spiritual vibrations. And, you know, there's all these, you know, portals and vortexes and all this that everybody's talking about nowadays. And, you know, that's like one guy I was talking to probably about 2 weeks ago. I was talking to him on the phone, and it was just through texting. And he texted me a question. He goes, Bill, he goes, what do you think the orbs are in connection with Sasquatch? And I said, well, if you really want my personal belief on it, and what I was told, and this is coming from years upon years upon years of oral tradition, we were always told that when you see an orb with them, that is their spiritual essence. That's their embodiment. That's their power, their chi, their whatever you want to call it. And that's the way that they can go from this world into the next world. So, I mean, call it what you want, but it's definitely an interesting subject, I think. So,
Absolutely.
I agree.
What questions do you guys got for him?
Oh, I didn't put this on the phone.
Well, have you investigated or have seen anything in Eastern Kentucky or there in Virginia?
yeah, well, I'm currently working with ECBRO out of Virginia, Eastern Bigfoot Resource Organization. So they were established back in 2010. They're not affiliated with the BFRO. So, but yeah, I haven't. I've been invited to do a couple things with them. I investigate mostly on my own and with a couple other guys that I know that I've kind of become acquainted with down here. So, and before that, it was me and another Native American guy that used to investigate up in Pennsylvania and New York area, and parts of Ohio too, like around Ashtabula, Ohio, and all that. So down almost into where the Grassman's supposed to be located. So, but yeah, I've done, and a lot of people don't understand this too, that when you're Native American, you're kind of almost born into it, because we're taught to just accept it.
Yeah.
It's a fact of our life. You accept the fact that they're there and you respect them for that. And as long as you respect them and give them, the respect they're due, there's going to be no problem. And I've personally, in all the run-ins I've had with them, I've never had a problem. So now the dog man is another story. So we won't get into that. I don't like the dog man.
No,
let's just say I don't have any werewolf in my blood.
I don't want to say no dog man from what the stories that I've heard from all the dog man researchers I've had on. I definitely don't want to run into the dog man.
Yeah. Well, my wife and I were walking her little dog here a little bit before I got cancer back in 2019. And it was real late at night. It was probably about 11:30 at night, and that little dog had to go. He was probably back then, he's probably every bit of about 5 pounds, just a little thing, little Pomeranian and pug mixed dog, So I noticed the pug that you guys have. And anyways, we were walking him, and as soon as we got out on the gravel road out front, we heard this loud growl. And it wasn't a growl like a human would make, or or like a gorilla would make, or even a lion would make, or any big cat. It was a canine growl, and it was a growl that shook your insides. That's how powerful a growl it was. And we kind of just shrugged it off. We didn't think anything about it. So then we started walking down the road a little bit and got about maybe 40, 50 feet. And another growl came off to our left-hand side on the side of the road. And I turned and I looked and I saw something dark standing there, but I couldn't make out what it was. And I'm guessing that it was a dog man, because not too long after I got cancer, they started having all kinds of sightings here in Shenandoah County with the dog man. So, and I've got my theories on that, but that's something I haven't really studied at all, because I I mean, I really don't want to,
We've watched
I
a
was,
few shows on that, haven't we? On the
so,
History Channel or the Travel Channel.
well, now I know I got a good friend, David Spinks, that's definitely investigated everything. I mean, he's kind of my go-to man. So he's been on Travel Channel and Discovery and all that. He was in a what was it?
Does he do
These
shows with
woods are
Jody Cook?
you remember the Woods Are Haunted episode where the young boy was going fishing with his grandfather,
Yeah.
and the big rocks were thrown from the wood line into the lake where they were fishing. Well,
I did think I remember something like that. Well, they're
he
known for
was,
throwing rocks.
yeah. David was actually the grandson in that episode. That was him and his grandfather. So, but yeah, he's also investigated the Mothman and all these other things. He'd be a good one to have on your podcast, by the way.
Absolutely.
So,
Definitely would love to have him on, man. I've had Jody Cook on, who is arguably the biggest dogman researcher in the whole entire world.
yeah, I've heard of Joey. Yeah. There's also another guy, Carlito, that I talk to online a lot, that is really big into the dogman, and he's actually got a couple of people that he knows that are really into it, because when I had this other individual come to me because they knew I was a Bigfoot researcher, he came to me with his dogman encounter here in Shenandoah County and asked me what he should do, at the Bigfoot event down in Staunton, Virginia, of October last year, I believe it was. And I honestly didn't know how to answer him. So I went to this guy Carlito that I knew online that had dealt with this thing before, and he put me in touch with somebody. But by the time I got done getting the information, this young man that had the sighting already found out information about what he needed and how to deal with it. So, but yeah, there's all kinds of weird stuff happening, especially on the East Coast. I don't know if you guys have noticed. Just all kinds of weird stuff has been happening lately within the last couple years. It's like the activity levels kicked up for some reason. So I don't know.
Not really noticed.
Yeah, we're we're a few hours from the East Coast, so
Yeah.
that doesn't really filter into us.
No.
And but unless you see it on the news or something like that, and they don't run that many stories on the news.
Yeah. Well, who's going to know all the weird stuff going on in these woods around from Kentucky to where I live is going to be the old moonshiners.
Yes.
Now, boy, I tell you what, if I could interview a few of them good old boys, and that would be nice. That would be nice, because I guarantee you they've seen some pretty weird stuff in their time.
Absolutely.
But I remember there was one old moonshiner called Popcorn Sutton.
Yeah. He's
we all know Popcorn Sutton.
Considered the best moonshiner ever, man.
Yep. Yeah, he's the granddaddy of it all. So, yeah. God rest his soul. But yeah, that was quite an experience I had when I was 12. And about a week later, I had another one, and it was real brief. Went motorcycling on another spot about maybe a mile away from there, a mile and a half. And this time it was in gravel pits. And the track through the gravel pits went in the wood line at one spot, went around about 150 yards, and came out in another spot of the woods back into the gravel pit. So you went in one way and out another. And I don't know, something that day told me might not want to go, but I still ended up going. I took my motorcycle there and I went because it was a buddy of mine. He had his old 100cc Indian dirt bike, and I had my old 125. And we were just racing around the gravel pits. And then he said, "Oh, let's use the trail now," until we got familiarized with the area. So he goes, "Follow me." So I followed him. He took me through the trail area into the woods and out the other side and all that until I got familiar with it, And make a long story short, came up my turn after he got done doing it a few times, and I took off down and through there, and I went through the first time, come back out, and I got a little creepy of a feeling when he got back to, because it was real quiet other than the motorcycle sound. And then I went through a second time and a third time, and on my fourth time I went through, I came through, made the turn to the left to go through the center of the woods. I started going through the center of the woods, and this branch hit the front tire on the dirt bike, and I flipped it, and I ended up falling off, and the bike landed on my leg, on my left leg, and fallen to this side of me, and I ended up looking around to see where the branch came from, and right there was a young one, a juvenile, probably 6 foot, 6.5 foot, muscular, just like the big one I saw, but just smaller in definition, but very muscular. He looked like a little Hercules, and black in color, flat nose to a point. It did have a little bit of a peak on the tip of his nose. I'm guessing that's because he wasn't fully mature yet. I have no idea. I don't know why they do that. I'm guessing the hair color has something to do with their age too, like with us. We either turn, white or gray or hairless, one of the three. But I just looked at him, and he looked at me, and we just, and he was a male, so he wasn't a female. And you don't want to see that, trust me. And make a long story short, it turned out that he just kind of just turned, looked at the motorcycle, looked back at me, he laying there, and then he looked behind him. And when he looked behind him, I heard kind of a rustling. And here was this doe standing there, motionless. Apparently, from us riding our motorcycles through, must have disturbed him from getting the doe. Made the doe get scared and stay still. And then he saw us, and he knew he couldn't get the doe because here's two stupid, teenage boys, riding motorcycles through an area they probably shouldn't be in, So, but yeah, I got on the bike, tore off out of there, and got up into the gravel pits with my buddy. And my buddy's like, "Well, what took you so long?" And I showed him the bike, because on the left side of the bike where the brake pedal was, the brake pedal was all mangled from the bike falling on the side, and my leg was burnt through my blue jeans that I was wearing from the exhaust. So, and what surprised me too was the popping and the cracking of a two-stroke motorcycle, a dirt bike. And I think you all know what that would sound like, the popping and the cracking from a motor, dirt bike. I think we've all heard that at one point in time.
Yeah.
You think that would have scared him and the doe out of there, but it seemed like neither one of them were fazed by it. That I don't understand. I don't know if it's because the doe maybe was so scared between us being there and that, and the Bigfoot being there, that it didn't want to move, or what. So I never could figure that one out. But that was my second encounter when I was young.
Wow. And I know
Really?
you've also witnessed UFOs and stuff. And Snowman, do you got any questions for him?
Well, I just on that story right there, you said earlier that when they would know, your intentions, or could read you, know that you were coming before you knew you were going.
That's right.
What if the doe was standing there motionless behind him?
I'll be right
You
back.
don't think it may be he's hunting the doe, and you all have startled him, but he has mentally got this doe frozen to where he can just go take care of business, And
yeah,
and
I heard also that they use infrasound too to immobilize it, kind of like taggers do and stuff like that. Big cats use infrasound, and some other animals use infrasound. But yeah, I agree with that.
Now, like I said, I've never seen one. I find the subject interesting. And I told this story on our podcast, was what got me interested was back in the 70s. And this was like, I don't know, 72, 73. So I was young, and in the newspaper, in the local newspaper, and this went for weeks, there was a Bigfoot story. Well, it was, I don't know, probably 10, 15 miles from our house. There was a mountain you had to cross called Bent Mountain, went over into Williams. Well, it was supposedly a Bigfoot was coming out and banging on people's cars because it's a real curvy road. You couldn't get any kind of speed, 30, 40 mile an hour, about the best you could do. But it would come out and bang on the cars. And I mean, it was every week for probably a good month, 2 months, something like this. There was a story in there about it. And then finally it come out, it was a guy in a gorilla suit, and somebody shot him as the reason they caught him. But that just kind of piqued my interest, even though it was a hoax. Then I just started kind of, reading on a few things and watching stuff. But it was enough to get me interested in the subject.
Yeah, well, you know what? If people are stupid enough to put ghillie suits on and walk around in woods where they know there's people that hunt and carry guns, then I'm sorry, they deserve to get shot. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just sheer stupidity.
That is, and this is a bad area of the country to do that.
Yeah. I mean, you go traipsing on somebody else's private land, especially the ones that the people hunt on, and you get shot. That's your own dang fault. I'm sorry. I mean, that's just sheer stupidity. But another thing too, though, to that point, with the people making the fake videos or whatnot, and wearing the Bigfoot suits and wearing the ghillie suits and all that, and trying to fake it out. I have people coming up to me all the time asking me about sticks and breaks on trees and all that, because I got pretty good tracking skills from the military, and plus being Native American. And I always told them, I said, you'll be able to tell the difference between a human break and design than an animal's break and design. And the reason being is, like with any game, if you've ever done any game hunting, especially like deer and stuff, you're looking anywhere from 4 foot and below. For little branches broken off, for leaves to be ruffled up a little bit, leaves kicked off of branches too soon, that kind of stuff, But when you start seeing them 10, 12, 14 feet in the air, that's when it gets a little questionable, The same with like the teepee structures that everybody claims to see. I had one guy come up to me at a Bigfoot conference once, and he goes, Nighthawk, he goes, what do you think about the stick structures and stuff? He goes, what do you think the small ones are? He goes, you think that's people faking it? I said, well, sometimes it would lead me to believe that. I said, but would you go for, 14 miles out in the middle of nowhere just to fake a teepee branch structure or something, to fake people that might happen to walk past? I mean, you're 12, 14 miles up in the middle of nowhere. Nobody's going to be there. So what are you making a structure for? Who are you going to impress with your, with you're trying to fake people out? I always thought that, it was the bigger ones teaching the smaller ones how to make these structures, and if you look at the structures that the Sasquatch, Bigfoot, Tall Man, Hairy Man, whatever you want to call, he has like 18 million names now. I forget them all. Wood booger, woolly booger. I mean, skunk ape. I mean, it's amazing how many names this poor thing's got. But if you look at it basically in this manner, the structures are made to resemble the Native American structures. Their domes that they make represent like our sweat lodge domes, where we go to our church and we sweat our sins away, or whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? We sweat, in a sweat lodge, and then we go and do a humblatia, which is a vision question and all that. their dome structures are built primarily the same way. It's the same dome structure. It's a little different, it's not our version of it,
Right.
but it's like a lodge to them. Who knows? Maybe they are having some kind of ceremony in there, and then they make these teepee structures, I mean, yeah, that's what we lived in for thousands of years, was teepees. My people especially, because we were nomadic. We'd travel from one end of the plains to the other, up into Canada, for that matter. So, I mean, there's so many theories out there currently right now that I wouldn't call it speculation, because everything everybody does to investigate all these oddities that are happening in the world nowadays, whether it's Bigfoot, UFOs, I wouldn't call anybody a liar or anybody, a faker or a fraud, because it's all collective information. And one day that collective information is going to come in handy.
Yeah.
Because somebody's going to be able to relate something somewhere along the lines.
Right.
So, but yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of things, and another thing I believe that the reason they make structures too is so they can show other ones that, yeah, there's a family of, maybe there's 6 big poles in this teepee structure and all the other ones are small. Maybe there's a family of 6 there living there, and that's their territory, and that's their way of marking their land with their home, as a
Right.
symbol for home. A lot of people see X's in the woods or tree branches bent over a certain way without being broken, and like a spring action. That bending over, we used to do that back in the day to show which direction we went during a hunt. We used to stack rocks up during a hunt too to show which direction we would do it. And depending on the number of people in the hunting party, we would turn a stone a certain way, and that stone would show the way that we went.
Yeah.
And only our people would know that. So I mean, it all comes down to what combining everybody's efforts to get together. What you can't dispute it, because the oral tradition, the Native American history, all across this continent, North America, Canada, the U.S., and even Mexico, you can't dispute it. There's, we've been here for thousands and thousands of years.
Right.
I don't see how anybody can dispute it. And yes, mainstream science wants a body. I'm not gonna give them a body. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna, black mark my family for 10 generations. No, right. I'm not doing that. They want a body, then those scientists can get off their butts and go out and shoot one, and let them answer to the consequences of it,
Right.
So, but now UFOs, they're all over the place, man. My young son, probably should have had him. You might want to have another UFO thing. You might want to have him on sometime.
Absolutely.
I call him Sasquatch too. He's like 6'5". He's a big guy, tough guy, and heart of gold though. But my son sees them a lot, and because where his bedroom window is, it's got like these.
Are we still on?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I've lost everybody.
We can't see anybody again.
I can hear you guys.
Okay.
There, now we can see you.
So you still? He's still in here. We lost him.
Oh, well, and he brought up the subject of UFOs.
I'm gonna send him an invite again. Go ahead and my bad. Sorry.
That's all right. Well, like I said, he brought up the subject of UFOs. Me personally, I believe that there are alien civilizations out there, and for all we know, the government has alliances or or agreements with them. But you also got to look that, as technologically advanced as we are, the Russians or the Chinese, and probably some of our other countries, probably have some of this technology that, they can. We don't know what they have, but it's not. They don't look like airplanes, so we're calling them UFOs. But it could be. It could be us.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I talked to a Christian friend of mine the other day, and we were talking about UFOs, and he believes that they're fallen angels and that they're here to take people, like the abductions, that they're actually taking them back to heaven. Sort of like the rapture, sort of like the beginning of the rapture, if you know what the rapture is. So I thought that was an interesting theory.
Well,
Yeah.
it's, but to me, if it's the rapture, it's supposedly all of a sudden everybody that's good is going to be gone. So I would think that would be some kind of big catastrophic event that's going to be good for these guys, but it's going to be pretty bad for everybody else.
Right.
Can you all see me now?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
I don't know this. I don't know what's going on. I don't think people like us talking.
I'll tell you what it is. You're in West Virginia.
Oh, he's in Virginia.
You're in Virginia. That's what it is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, go Cavs.
We got the good internet in Kentucky.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, you're talking to somebody who's used to smoke signals, so. The UFO thing that you guys are talking about. Yeah, I was listening. That's pretty interesting. I like that. There's all kinds of
what
things
was
in
the
the
story
skies.
you were saying? Because you were saying something about your son and it cut out.
Yeah, my youngest son has been seeing a lot of activity in the nighttime sky, south out his window at night. And we've actually, all of us in the family have gone out, all four of us, and stood outside and seen this activity firsthand. In fact, my wife and I were outside one time, and this craft flew over top of our house. It looked like a kind of almost like a V-shaped kind of a craft, coming like this across the top of the house, completely silent, but it was fast and it was huge. And the next thing we knew, there was two jets that came shooting in after it. So, and this was back, probably 2018. But my son, every night he tells us, he comes out about midnight at night and tells us that there's all kinds of activity out his window. And we can literally, get up and go out there and see it ourselves too. There's all kinds of orbs. There's all kinds of like multicolored, rotating craft that you can see. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. It really is. I'm going to have to try and record it sometime, but I don't really have that great of recording equipment as of yet. So,
well, and that's, they see a lot over in Eastern Kentucky. I've never seen one. I take that back.
well, are you guys near Hopkinsville?
No, we are about 30, well, probably about 50 miles from the Virginia border.
Oh, okay.
That's where we're located in southeast.
I've seen one around the lake around here where I live. I live close to the lake and I've seen one.
Well, that was my story. Back in the, it was either the late 70s, early 80s. Me and a couple of buddies, there was supposed to be a meteor shower, and we went out into this field that used to be an old dairy farm, and the old lady that lived out there, she didn't like anybody out there. She would shoot at you if you knew. So we were out there being quiet.
Sounds like a couple neighbors I've had.
Oh yeah. So we're just out here in the middle of the field, just sitting there watching. And from the east, this really bright white light comes up. And I'm thinking, well, it's probably an airplane, because the airport is kind of northeast from where we were at. And
right.
But this white light, I mean, just really bright, And I'm thinking, well, helicopter or something like this. There's no noise, and it goes, comes across the hill, and right when it gets over top of us, it makes a 90-degree turn and goes south. And did not hear anything, but it wasn't. It might have been a couple 100 feet off the top of the mountain. So you're probably, and
Not,
it was just weird. We just
yeah.
had, you see that, and that was the end of it. That's as far as it went.
To my knowledge, even being in the military, and that was back in the Stone Age in the 80s when I was in. But to my knowledge, we don't have anything like that. We have some very stealthy craft, don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, they're working on a project right now. I believe that they're trying to make a craft that can reach Mach 10.
Yes.
So yeah, that's that's incredible if they can do that. And I've heard rumors, everybody hears rumors, about how we're working in conjunction with a certain group of aliens and how we're on this moon base, and we've got this base on Mars now, and we've got actual, humans on Mars, and the general public's not allowed to know about it because it would not cause a panic, but it would probably, be like, how come they're doing all this in secret, not trusting their own citizens with the information,
Well, that's
So,
something we've kind of been touching on our podcast. I found some books. They're on Audible, and it's the first one is called "Insiders Reveal the Secret Space Program." It's written by Dr. Michael Salla. So I get this thing and start listening to it, and it's based on this guy that says he was in this secret space program for 20 years, and he came out and was telling his story. Well, they're telling all this stuff, and I'm sitting there thinking, yeah, I don't know about this, but they sprinkles in enough facts that you can go and check yourself that makes it believable. And
right.
And so I'm trying to keep an open mind, but this Michael Salla has written 6 books pertaining to that subject. Every one of them have some interesting facts in, very interesting facts in.
Right.
I don't know if I can take it as 100%, but there's, like I said, there's enough stuff in those books that he sprinkles in as proof, as corroborating evidence that it could be possible, and they're very interesting. And if you got Audible, get the first book and listen to it. It's really out there.
Yeah, I've seen some incredible books on the subject and stuff, and I've heard about the remote viewing program, and even know a little bit about that. I've heard about the incident at Fort Meade here in Maryland, with the alien being captured there, and and how the one remote viewer person freed it and helped it escape.
Yes,
Fort Meade.
I've heard that story.
So, but yeah, I've heard a lot, and I've seen some things in the military. I was above top secret security clearance when I was in, and I was stationed on a carrier, and I mean, so I know what regular aircraft look like. I know how our regular aircraft fly and stuff.
Right.
And so I mean, I'm not like somebody that doesn't know a boat from a canoe. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, there's a lot of things to be said about the whole UFO phenomena. I've heard that with Roswell being not the first crash site in that area, it was actually the second one.
Mm-hmm.
And I just lost the picture on you guys.
We see you still.
We still see you.
Yeah, well, maybe my phone's going dead. Probably. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I think his
Yes.
phone was dead.
Yeah, something's going on.
Oh, there you are.
There you are.
Well,
You're back.
And that was part of this book, there's or books. I can't remember which book it was in because I've listed all 6 of them. Roswell was not the first crash. You back after Pearl Harbor, they had the Battle of L.A. If you'd heard anything about that, they fired off like 1,400 rounds at something.
Yeah, the Battle of LA. Yeah, I know that well.
Well,
yep.
According to these books, the Navy actually shot down 2 of them out over the ocean and retrieved them. And so those were the first ones that we had actually come into possession of. Like I said, this book is got some pretty good facts in it, and it's well worth listening to.
Well, I do know that
about the first book.
I had a couple people. Yeah, I had a couple people ask me about the ones when you see like the where there's several dozens of them or more clustered together to look like dots in the sky. And I did know of a program back when I was in and getting out, just getting out, that they had a drone program that was called, what was it called? It was called, what was it called? I can't remember the name of it. Anyways, it, Swarm. That's what it was called, Swarm.
Yeah.
And what it was they had several hundred of these drones, these mini drones and other drones that worked in conjunction with a main drone, a bigger one. And they were all connected like a swarm of bees,
right.
And then they would, take out targets that way, or they could put up, holographic images on the sky to show something that isn't there, you know what I mean? Or, I've even heard the military is using ultraviolet now with the weatherization weapons, our military, to basically manipulate the weather, to use the weather to their advantage. And in fact, there might even be some proof of that, because I was told that during the wildfires back in, what was it, 2017?
They're still going on.
Well, yeah, I don't know. In some parts they are, but it started in 2017 or 2018, I believe.
Yeah, in California.
Whenever it first started, I heard a rumor through some military buddies of mine that our military tried using a weather weapon to help put out the fires with rain. Well, they misjudged it, and that weather phenomena went further south and east than where they tried to in California and all that to put out the fire. It actually flooded the Mississippi Delta.
Wow.
And that one big flood back in 2000, I think it was 2018, was caused by that, is what I was told. Now that's just strictly hearsay, but I mean, that shows you the kind of technology that, maybe they are, tweaking, here and there. So
that was a topic in one of the last books.
Oh, really?
Yes. And supposedly the Air Force was trying to have a soft disclosure of some of this stuff that they have, and the powers that be didn't want that. And so, they're saying that they actually steered a hurricane into a military base in Florida where the Air Force had their stuff based at. And and I'm sitting there going, I don't know about that. But then it goes on to talk. They have a base in Alaska. It's out in the middle of nowhere, just nothing but antennas.
Yeah.
And this big field. And I think they called it HARP or something like that.
Yeah, HARP.
But they
said
that it was basically throwing microwaves up in there to kind of control the weather a little bit. They said now all this have been transferred over to satellites. So it doesn't do anything, and so they can do whatever they want to with those satellites. I'm sort of, I don't know. I will reserve judgment.
Yeah.
It was interesting, but that was interesting. You just said that, and I had just Just heard that in the book.
I'll see. We're all on the same wavelength tonight. Just wish we could get the technical aspect of it fixed.
Yeah.
You got
Well,
somebody
old
by the
people check.
Do you know
We blame
somebody
it on
by the
That's
name
one
of?
of my. That's one of my buddies.
Oh, okay. I was seeing it has the microphone X'd out on it. I don't know if he can talk or.
He just wants to listen.
Oh, okay.
Hey, how's
Well, he can join in if he wants. I got no problem with that. He can join in a minute.
Yeah, man. This has definitely been. Hey, Steven, you there, man? Can you hear me?
Hey, what's going on?
Do you want to perform for us, play guitar, or what?
Give me one split second. Well, right now I don't currently have my guitar with me right now.
All
We
right.
don't sing.
I don't have it with me.
Oh, okay. I hear
Yeah.
you. Yeah, Steven definitely has some things upcoming in the Eastern Kentucky music scene for sure. But
My
yeah,
hand's
man.
going numb from.
But yeah, man. There's a lot of UFOs that can be explained, and there's a lot that can't be explained. But I did see something where they're creating some new drone or something that is going to have a lot of people saying that's a UFO. I don't know if you've seen where Elon Musk just came out with the Starlink, which is a satellite internet company he just created about a year ago, and a lot of people was thinking that was UFOs, but it was actually the satellites.
Right.
I
Yeah.
can't wait till that's up and going.
Yeah. Well, you know what you were talking about the drone program. I actually saw a show on, I don't know, the History Channel or Discovery Channel about a year ago that the Navy did a test, and they dropped these drones. They dropped like, I don't know, 300 or 400 of these little mini drones out of a jet fighter. They just dropped them off, and they had programmed different spots, and those drones swarmed to those spots. You know, and I was sitting there. I said, well, that's pretty amazing. Then you brought that up, saying that they might be able to use it to put a picture in the sky to make you think something else is going on than what
Exactly.
that was.
And it's all we can do to put our picture on here.
Yeah. Yeah.
That took
Yeah,
20
there's-
minutes tonight.
Smarter
There's-
people than
there's-
us do that part.
I don't
there's-
think Elon
there's,
Musk came from Hazard, Kentucky.
There's a lot to what our military can do, and it's capable of doing.
Mhm.
But there's a lot that they can't explain.
Right.
There's always that 10% of, there's no way that 10% of everything that we're seeing is actually the United States military or
Right.
even the Chinese. So,
You know,
Elon Musk would be a good one to get to know.
Great
Because
guy.
I guarantee that man has probably got his sights on some inside information after working so closely with his space program. I guarantee that his people have seen some stuff.
I'm a big
Yeah, maybe
fan
we
of
can
his.
get him on the podcast.
I wish if I could have Elon Musk on, that would be probably that would be my favorite interview. That guy's a legend, man. Elon Musk is an absolute legend. And
I'll see what I can do about that.
yeah,
Hey, I know some people. I'll see what I can do about that.
Yeah.
Maybe I can do my cancer Make-A-Wish thing and have Elon Musk on your program.
I'm definitely down, man. I'll definitely appreciate that. Having Elon Musk on would make my life, honestly. That guy's a legend, man. But yeah, man.
Oh yeah.
He actually something great that he's done is actually give us the chance. Where I live at, we can only have like one internet company. We have one crappy internet company, and now here in a couple months we can get Starlink here.
Yeah. Yeah. And you got to admire people like that have that kind of a drive to actually do it. When our own government doesn't want to take care of their own citizens that way. The ones that I'm fearful of right now are the ones that control like the media and the internet media, especially like Facebook and all that. And Facebook is a good thing because you can keep in contact with people but they block so much content.
Yeah.
And they try to censor people, especially if you're not seeing it from their viewpoint.
Right.
And I never really understood that. Yes, I'm Native American, but at the same time I'm Native American, I still believe on having jobs and pipelines and to create jobs and fuel that's not $3.90 a gallon. I wish we could go back to $1.88 a gallon.
Yeah.
That was that helped people out. What's going on now is just a travesty. It is. It's a travesty. So
let's go, Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon.
Unfortunately, I can't talk too much about that, or YouTube will take the video down. They've took all my political. They've took all my political interviews.
Well, we're
down.
not going to get political.
No, I'm not getting political. I'm just, it's just disgusting.
It's disgusting that I can't even talk about politics on my podcast. Honestly,
yeah.
It's disgusting.
What the real thing is we elect these politicians to do what is
and we can fire
good,
them.
what is good for this country, and it's just like first thing they do is they go in there and just like Mitch McConnell from Kentucky here.
Cocaine Mitch.
He's been in there for
too long.
Way too long. We need term
Too
limits
long.
to get these guys out of here because if you're in there, they can be there for life as long as they're getting elected. The president gets 8 years.
if you're only a 2-year term, you still get all the retirement benefits.
Exactly. But see,
so
I'm just speaking out of, I don't know that it's true, but
I can see he's got some sweat going across his brow. That's why he's taking his hat off. So we might not want to talk about the subject much longer.
If you're a politician, you get in there, the longer you're in there, you've got a little bit of power, and you may not think you're going to get corrupt, but eventually it happens.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm thinking. We need term limits and let these people work for the better of the people that elect them in there instead of all these little pet projects and things like that. And I'm gonna quit ranting now. So
you're good, man. You're good.
Go Brandon.
Go Brandon. Hey man, I gotta say something, man. Brandon's getting a lot of support here lately.
Yeah.
Well,
I hate to say this. I probably got another 10 minutes to go on the battery life of this phone that I'm on. So
all right, man. Definitely appreciate you coming on. And I'm gonna let both of you all promote because I seen something on my Facebook story before the interview. You actually have created your own podcast.
Yeah, I'm going to try and get that started here pretty soon. Probably not till after Christmas. I was shooting for Christmas Eve, but things have been happening here lately that it's just the timing's not going to be too good until probably before New Year's. Yep. So, but definitely before New Year's. And if I was going to do it on Christmas Eve, I was actually going to tell some Native American Christmas stories to kind of just make it a holiday, kind of a special thing. So. But it's William Nighthawk, and it's Nighthawk's High Strangeness. And we're going to be talking about basically everything from cryptid creatures to UFOs to paranormal ghost hunting to mysterious disappearances. I mean, just conspiracy theories, you name it, everything. It'll just be encompassing everything. I just didn't want to limit it to one thing. And a variety is the spice of life right now. So
yeah. And the Paranormal Trucker, and send me your link to your podcast, and I'll put it in the description on YouTube so people can follow your podcast on there so they can know when you start.
All right. And to all your YouTube viewers, I'm a big supporter of you, little brother there. So, I have been. We've talked a lot, through Messenger and all that. So, that, I support you 150% in what you're doing. So
Appreciate
if you
it,
ever
man.
need anything, you let me know. Okay. And I'll work on the Elon Musk thing too. So
Yeah, I'll definitely would like to have your son on too, man. He
okay.
looks like he's witnessing a lot of UFOs and stuff.
Yeah, he's had a lot of stuff happen. Yes, that's for sure. So, but yeah, my battery's like down to 17%. So yeah, I might be getting cut out here pretty soon, guys. Is there anything else y'all wanna ask me, or?
No, I think we went through a lot of stuff tonight. We'll wrap it up
Well,
so we don't lose you.
well, if you all need anything, you feel free to contact me. Okay.
Thank you, and vice versa.
Yes, and
and good luck with your cancer, and we'll keep you in our prayers.
I'm a fighter. I haven't lived here this long to just stop all of a sudden. So, and when they removed my esophagus and made my stomach my esophagus, that kind of gave me a reason to really fight. So, but it'll be all right. It'll be all right. It's in the good Lord's hands. It's not in my hands. He's got a mission for me to do, and I don't know what it is. We'll find out. We'll find out. Hopefully, we'll all find out together. So
that's a good attitude to have.
But all right. It was great meeting you all. And like I said, stay in touch with me. If you ever need anything, let me know. Okay.
Absolutely. If you need anything, holler at me as well, man.
All right, brother. You take care of yourself. I'll talk to you later.
Absolutely. And the Paranormal Trucker, your podcast, you guys do episodes every Sunday.
Every day Bart feels like he wants to do one. That's what we do.
We usually try to do them on Sundays, but here it's been a little hectic. We haven't done one in a couple weeks. Marge and I were out of town for a few days, and then Trucker's been
2 weekends.
2
weekends in a row. We had holiday stuff come up.
He's been, Lord mercy, he's all over the place. And then me doing my job, I've not been getting home.
No.
6, 7, 8 o'clock at night. So it makes.
And I'm just lazy.
But yeah, man, definitely your guys' YouTube will be in the description as well. Steven, are you still there?
No, I think his battery. Yeah. Oh, that's your other friend.
Hey, Steven, what do you have upcoming, man?
I just got with John Hicks the other day. We was making a song, and we was gonna try to get together this coming weekend to finish it and work on it. I don't know about finishing it, but just kind of added more to it, kind of add more depth to it.
Absolutely, man. And Harvey.
Yeah, I'm over here now.
What are you doing, man?
I've come back from church a while ago.
Oh yeah, man. Let's talk about this is a recording, by the way, man. Let's talk about our show every week, Harvey's Weekly Football Report. What have we got upcoming, man?
Well, we do the NFL game, but we did the bowl games, and we're doing decent on it. Anybody can win those bowl games because most of them just want to have fun. Really, it's a vacation time for those college athletes.
Absolutely, man. We definitely look forward to picking them. And can you see Snowman and Large March and their T-shirts they got on, Harvey?
I see that. Yeah,
that's the reason. Yeah, that's the reason why I got Harvey to join, because your guys' T-shirts.
Matching T-shirts. We just got them in the mail today.
Yeah, got them out. They've been ordered forever.
Have they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they look good.
Surprised me.
But yeah, man, I definitely want to thank William Nighthawk for being on, Bigfoot Researcher. And I want to thank Snowman and Large March from the Paranormal Trucker for being on as well. and
Always.
in this crossover podcast. And y'all
Did they know? Did they ever get with Earl Eddie and talk to him?
Huh?
Earl.
Yeah, did they ever talk to Earl about Bigfoot and all that?
No. Yeah, I want to thank.
Is that the gentleman that just passed away?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he had emailed and talked with him and was trying to get something worked out, and then it didn't happen that way. Speaking of the devil, he's calling right now. Hello.
Yeah, I definitely want to thank the Paranormal Trucker podcast for co-hosting, and this will also
We've
be
had a blast as usual.
absolutely. It's
Get ready
always,
for the holidays.
it's always fun having you guys on.
Well, we enjoy it.
We have too much
Hey,
fun.
Seth, tell them they know you know who I was for president.
I can't talk about that right now, Harvey.
Okay. Okay.
No, I'm recording. But yeah, I definitely want to thank the Paranormal Trucker podcast.
Okay, that's all right.
We're co-hosted, man, and I want to thank William Nighthawk for being on. Y'all have a good night, and God bless.